I'm going to take all the haters out there. I'm going to shine them up real nice, turn them sideways, and stick them straight up. There can
Whoa,
be.
whoa, 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 whoa. This is a PG show, my
Don't you
friend.
ever cut me off again, you jabroni.
I gotta cut you off here because you know damn well this is Fourth and Pain, the only football and pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player with the weight loss champion. Cutting the most electrifying promos on the radio today is Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker.
Of course, you would cut me short.
Former wrestling announcer and the guy that's tall on personality, weight loss champion Chuck Carroll here. Be sure to give me a follow at the Chuck Carroll, him at Adam Carriker 94. Most importantly, at Fourth and Pain, where we tweet out new shows each and every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Adam, the Washington Redskins go down to Big Dallas, have high hopes. Things didn't go according to plans. Now you've got this big game this weekend against the Chicago Bears. But you know what? Here's kind of what struck me in watching the game in Dallas. And everybody wants to say, oh, doom and gloom for Washington. We saw things out of Robert Griffin III in Dallas that we hadn't seen since before his leg injury against the Baltimore Ravens. Not even in that Seahawk playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens when he initially suffered that injury. I think that big things could be on the horizons for Robert Griffin III. I'm just saying he had quickness, he had prowess, he was out there, he was unleashed. What did you see?
What I saw was a guy who looked explosive, who looked fast again. Several times he took off and ran, and he looked well. He hasn't been limping all year, but there was nothing to indicate any sort of a limp or anything like that. The particular play that people seem to be pointing at, and for good reason, is the play where he outran DeMarcus Ware to the edge and beat him and got the corner on him. DeMarcus Ware is one of the best linebackers of all time, in my opinion. So that shows he's got the speed and explosiveness. But we've known that he's been cleared. He has been cleared for quite a while. It's been 6 weeks now, 5 games, a bye week. So we know that he's physically healthy. What excited me the most is what I saw out of Robert is he wanted to run. He looked comfortable running. I saw him moving around in the pocket. I saw him looking for holes to take off. Now, he's a quarterback first. He's trying to throw the football. But if that breaks down, he looked like he was, I'm ready to go. Let's run. If there's no pass, nobody open, let's take off and run. And I think that bodes well moving forward because you hear Rodney Harrison talk about it about every week on Football Night in America leading up into the Sunday night game about how he had knee surgery as well. And after 1 year, he was cleared. But that first year, he was out there. In his words, he was scared to death. I don't think Robert's scared to death. But that mental aspect is as much a part of the recovery as anything else. And now that Robert's getting comfortable, he's getting confident with taking off and running, I think that bodes well for the Chicago Bears and the rest of this season.
Well, you talk about that long running play that he had. I think that the most telling play for me was actually, I believe it was a 3rd and goal to go. It was about at the 7 or the 9-yard line, and they called the quarterback draw. Now that's, knowing full well that there's not going to be a whole lot of open field, a lot of space to maneuver around those defenders, knowing that you're going to take the hit. You feel comfortable enough to go with that quarterback draw with a goal to go situation. I think that above any other play in the game spoke volumes to me, and he didn't hesitate to take off, and he looked fast. And honestly, I thought when he first broke that line of scrimmage, I thought that he was going to cross the goal line.
I completely agree with you. And what I like best about that play, you said it, he didn't hesitate. It was clearly a quarterback draw. He didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. He didn't mosey around. He just took off. It reminded me of the Tampa Bay game down in Tampa last year where they were called a quarterback draw. He scored on that play. This time he didn't. But the hesitation and the attitude was the same, and it was there. And really, it excites me to see that because the mental aspect of this recovery and running the ball with someone like Robert who can run so well, that's going to be a key part as well as the physical aspect. Now, he's a quarterback first, got to be able to throw first and foremost. We get that. We know that. But what makes him dynamic, what separates him from Andrew Luck, what separates him from all these other pocket passers, not that Andrew can't run, but not like Robert, is the fact that he is an Olympic hurdle speed track athlete. And when he brings that to the table as well as what he can do in the pocket, that makes him dynamic.
And he's bringing all of that to the table here this week against the Chicago Bears back home. 1 o'clock kick at FedEx Field. 4-2 Chicago Bears team. This is a defense that historically have been known to just kind of get in your face. I'm not going to say that they're going to be any more or less difficult than some of the defenses that the Redskins have already faced this year. But given the fact that Robert has kind of been unleashed, uncorked, if you will, were you kind of expecting to see more of that explosiveness circa his rookie season, circa his time at Baylor this week against Chicago?
I think you will against Chicago, and as the season unfolds and goes along, the more comfortable he is with it, the more comfortable the coaches will be with it, the better the results will be, the more often it'll be called. You got to be smart with it. You don't want to do it too much, but it's an eccentric part of this game plan that helped our offense so much last year.
All right, now we're talking about Robert Griffin III here on 4th and Payne. Let's go back to Dallas. Let's take a look at the Redskins' performance overall. Now, obviously, things didn't go according to plan for the Redskins. Wind up on the short end of the stick, but you take a look at the statistics here, and offensively, this was a dominant performance, which means also defensively, you're looking at a dominant performance. Most telling here for me, time of possession, 34-32 for Washington, just 25-28 for the Dallas Cowboys. Redskins, 25 first downs compared to Tony Romo and company. They only had 18 on the game. But then you look at the total yards, Adam, 433 for RG3 and company, 213 for the Dallas Cowboys. If you're just looking at the box score, you got to be thinking, how in the world did Washington not just walk away with this one?
There's been a lot of frustrated fans, a lot of frustration in the locker room, and justifiably so. Things are not going the way we want. Things have to improve. Things will improve. Here's my response. And if you're on the radio, I'm sorry, because you're going to miss this.
Let me just translate. He threw up the Redskins logo that's attached to his gloves.
Hail to the Redskins. You don't give up. You don't give in. You puff out your chest. You stick out your nuts, and you kick the opponent, whoever it is this week, square in the face mask. Within the rules of the game, not literally, because that would be a penalty. You got to look at the rest of the stats. Rushing, we had 216 yards. Dallas only had 48. Our rush defense last year was very, very good. Everyone wants to always point to the negative stats when teams are losing. Well, let's keep in mind this rushing offense with DeMarco Murray and everything they've been doing. They only had 48 rushing yards this past game. Tony Romo, who threw for over 500 yards, 5 touchdowns against, in my opinion, an underrated Denver defense, who's getting Von Miller back, by the way, and that's just scary. We held them to 165 passing yards. I mean, we more than doubled their total yards. They won the game. They won the game by double digits. I think a lot of that has to do with those kickoff returns. Brian Keel injures himself and is out for the year. And I think he makes the play if his knee doesn't give out on the touchdown return. That's football, but it's kind of a freakish thing that went against us. There's a couple of quasi, maybe sort of calls that didn't go our way. That's football. I just feel like if a couple of these things bounce a little bit differently, maybe the returns are a little bit different, we dominate the stat column the way we did, maybe the result is a little different.
Well, you're talking about just you kind of jog my memory here. You're talking about the calls maybe not going the Redskins' way. Well, of course, the big one to me that stood out was the ruling where the referee said that the Dallas player was pushed into the ball on that punt, and therefore it was down by contact at that point, and the Redskins weren't able to recover. I believe Reed Dowdy fell on the ball. It should have been Washington's ball, according to everybody and their brother, except for that official. Had you ever heard of that rule before Sunday night?
I had not, and I don't know that I can expand on it too much without getting a FedEx from the league office. So I'm not going to expound on it too much, but I will say we got a minute left. And let's do our 4 keys to the game by 4th and Payne for the Chicago Bears. Sound good?
Yeah, man, I like that. Why don't you kick it off, man? What's your first key?
I'm going to kick it off with defense has kept improving. Every single week has gotten better and better. We're getting pressure on the quarterbacks, knocking them on their backsides. This past week really shut down the running game. Just keep doing that. We're going to face Matt Forte. If we can hold him under 100, that's a good day. Jay Cutler is really becoming a really even better quarterback this year. If we can hold him down like we did Tony Romo last year, along with Alshon Jeffries, along with Martellus Bennett, just keep doing what you've been doing. Keep improving. Keep getting better and better.
All right, for me, man, we talked about this earlier, and we're going to talk about it again. RG3 continues to need to be RG3. Saw big flashes down in Big Dallas. I think that those days are going to continue. We're going to see more and more plays like that from Robert Griffin III. He needs to continue to be more comfortable in being himself and returning back to form. Adam, your second key, 3rd overall.
Coverage units just got to get better. Punts, kickoffs, guys' knees going out. That's part of the game. Bad calls is part of the game. Their final result is just do better on the kick coverage units.
Lastly, get Alfred Morris the ball more. Only 18 carries in Dallas. I need for Alfred Morris to touch the ball 20 or more times in a game. Sometimes he's going to get 1 or 2 yards, but they're going to see those 45-yard touchdown runs from Alfred Morris. You give him the ball, you will get points on the board. Best of luck to the Washington Redskins this week. More Fourth and Pain coming right up.
Adam Carriker, Redskins defensive end, number 94, former lifter of the year with the largest arms on the defensive line, here with your pumping iron tip of the week. Everybody wants to do the curls for the girls, the tries for the guys. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. Let's do some abs so you can get the grabs. What you want to do, everybody wants to do sit-ups. Everybody wants to do toe touches. Everybody wants to do leg raises. Get on the balance ball. It makes it much more difficult. It makes you stabilize. Don't be afraid to grab a 10, a 25 while you're doing your side bends, while you're doing your sit-ups. Put it on your lower back while you're doing your plank. And don't cut the time down. Keep that plank at a minute. Don't take shortcuts. Do this 3 to 4 times a week. Remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. You're welcome.